From the Wisconsin Taxpayers Alliance, Wednesday, April 11th, 2012. A brief interview with Todd Berry, President. Mr. Berry, WISTAX has a new report out about income taxes. What did you discover?
What we found this year is that we've had a lot of years of piecemeal change to state tax law, years of really neglecting the overall income tax law. And so what we end up with is some strange contradictions in how the law works and a lot of complexity that is unneeded.
And what was the biggest surprise to the public that you discovered?
Probably the biggest surprise that the public wouldn't know is something that has been known in state government for probably a decade, and that is the state is over-withholding income taxes on people's paychecks by easily over $1.5 billion. Now, of course, that means people get larger tax refunds, which some people may like, but they're also reducing their take-home pay temporarily and, in effect, giving the state well over $1 billion interest-free loan every year.
You said that in your study you found that there are some unintended consequences of Wisconsin's tax system. What are those?
Well, a good example would be unlegislated tax increases. We don't adjust all parts of our state income tax for inflation. And because we don't do that with exemptions and some credits, it means that even if your income is only rising by the rate of inflation, over the last 10 years, your state income taxes could increase by 6 to 11% more than that. In other words, your state income tax burden was growing more than your income.
And what did you discover are some of the conflicting incentives in the existing tax system?
You would want people to work rather than retire, and yet our tax system gives almost an 80% tax break to folks who move from the workforce to retirement. And I have nothing against retirement or retirees, but the change of one day resulting in an 80% tax break might raise eyebrows in some quarters. Another is we would like people to be married rather than divorced, and yet there's a real incentive for couples once they separate that we raise their income tax burden, and if they really want to lower it, the best thing for them to do is to go through with the divorce rather than attempt to reconcile.
And how is the state income tax unnecessarily complex?
We're supposed to base our income tax on the federal income tax. Now we have 70 differences in definition compared to the federal government and the state. Really adds complication to people's lives. We've more than tripled the number of tax credits, and now we're even using the income tax form as a way to make contributions to charitable organizations that have nothing to do with government. I have, again, nothing against charitable contributions, but when you keep adding one or two a year, you end up with an income tax form that gets longer and longer.
Should Wisconsin's income tax be overhauled and simplified?
We really haven't had any kind of fundamental overhaul of the state income tax probably in 25, 30 years. And it's a lot like a compost heap that you keep piling one little change on top of another. And after a couple years, you're left with sort of an unrecognizable pile. Unfortunately, in the case of the income tax, that's a pile of complexity that you have to deal with each year.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. That's Todd Berry, President of the nonprofit, nonpartisan Wisconsin Taxpayers Alliance. For more information, go to www.wistax.org. That's www.wistax.org.